New Mexico Momcast. I'm Vanessa Bush.
And I'm Becca Lesko-Toops. The New Mexico Momcast is a show from ABQ Mom for local moms as we navigate raising our kids in the land of enchantment.
How's the winter treating you?
Better now that it is getting slightly warmer. The weather being in the 40s, 50s feels like, oh, I'm in Southern California all of a sudden. Like ready to go to the beach compared to like 9 degrees. This is my soapbox topic for moms, is that having your car cleaned regularly is self-care. It's mental health care, it's self-care, especially as your kids start to get into like preteen and lots of activities, middle school years. You spend more time in your car than you do in your bedroom, in my opinion. Do you not?
That hurts a little bit, but there is truth there. I don't know if I mean, ideally you're getting 8 hours of sleep a night. That's ridiculous. Even if you're getting 6 hours of sleep a night. Do you really think you're spending 6 hours in your car? Definitely some days. Yes.
There have been times where I've spent easy 6 hours just because, it depends on where your kids go to school and what you're doing, activities. And then there was one point where I had 4 kids in 4 different schools and it was insanity.
Yeah. I had 2 years where all 3 of my kids were at the same school. 2 years.
It was angels singing.
It was a K through 8. Oh man, that was cool.
That was really nice. 1 drop off, 1 pickup. That's it.
That was cool for that minute.
COVID
care.
Yeah, but my hack is, here's this. There's a few car washes in town that you'll have to figure out yourself, or you can DM me and I'll tell you that the vacuums are free. So you can just pull up. And a hot take, this is my mom hack of the year, is you pull up with your kids, you get out, there's vacuums on either side. I'm like, all right, clean my car. And like, you guys have 10 minutes, set a timer, and it's like you have your own pit crew at NASCAR and they have to clean it out super fast and vacuum it and recognize that they're snacks and ground up pretzels and stuff. Yeah.
So. Recognize their own filth.
See what you do. And so the idea is, hopefully if they have to clean it up, then they'll be more respectful of the space. Maybe.
Look, I could see the logic there. That's good. So I don't know if I've told you, one of my boys is very entrepreneurial. He is starting a new business like every 6 months. He's got like another business idea. So he is a car detailing business. Again, you can DM me. I'll give you his details if you want your car details. But I was like, hey, I pay for a lot of stuff for you. And you have these tools you use to clean people's cars. Can you please clean mine? And he has just once. I'm not asking for a full detail. He's like, Mom, you have a big car. That's like $150. And I was like, you have a big life. And I spent much more than that on you.
Oh, how the tables have turned.
Anyway, yeah, we'll see how this goes. But hopefully I'll get another clean car soon. Because it snowed a little bit ago and it's looking dirty. A
little nasty, yeah. I will say, as soon as it's clean, I'm like, oh, it's so nice and clean. I'm so happy to be in here in this space, So that's I recommend, go get your car cleaned. It's a good splurge. It's less than therapy,
Visual clutter is a real thing. Like, I feel like visually cluttered, I am not as good as I could be, for sure. All right. So today we're going to listen to you interview one of our contributors, Anastasia. Tell us a little bit about Anastasia.
Oh my gosh. I love these interviews because getting to have this kind of uninterrupted time, just, bombarding people with questions where it's not socially acceptable in most instances to do that. Is such a guilty pleasure of mine. So Anastasia's wonderful. She's been a contributor here with ABQ Mom and contributed some great social media and then also articles that I'll link in the show notes for you to check out. But she is currently pregnant with her second child and she is a labor and delivery nurse. So some really interesting, funny, kind of unguarded conversation about being pregnant and childbirth. And she has this thing on her social media called TMI Tuesdays, where she just talks about the things that nobody talks about being pregnant. And it is hilarious.
We need to talk about these things more. So I'm super excited to hear this conversation. It's going to be awesome.
Hey, local moms. It's time to shine a spotlight on your Albuquerque favorites. The 2025 ABQ Moms Choice Awards are here, and we need your voice to crown the best of the best. From the coziest coffee shop to the pediatrician who's always there for your family. This is your chance to nominate and vote for the businesses, service, and experience you love most in the Albuquerque Metro. Now through March 3rd, let's celebrate the places and people that make Albuquerque home. Head to abqmom.com to submit your picks today. My gosh, well, welcome, Anastasia. Thank you so much for being here with me. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Pretty good. I got like 3-day-old hair hiding under this beanie, but we're living the life.
That's why you do the slick bun. It's hat or bun.
Yep, back. Yeah, it's been so stinking cold that I'm like, I'm just wearing a beanie every day. I'm just leaning into this lifestyle.
Yeah, I totally feel you there.
Yeah. Anastasia, you have been a contributor with ABQ Mom for how long now?
This is my second year. Yeah, so
Okay.
second year being a contributor, and yeah, I love it. I love the women getting to meet new people. I think ABQ Moms is a great resource for, women and families in our community, and I love being a part of it.
So, what have been some of your favorite contributions, posts, or different things that you've done for ABQ Mom over the
Yeah,
years?
I really like doing the Takeover Tuesdays. I think those are so fun. I love watching them, but then I like
Yeah.
doing them too because I feel like a little mini influencer, and I think it's cool just getting to see what different people's days are. That has been a lot of fun, and then just the freedom. I mean, I was a little nervous when I first started because I was like, "Gosh, I haven't written anything freely since." Probably high school. Like in college, it was all research papers for
Hmm.
nursing. And so I was like, man, do I even know how to write anymore? But so that's been really cool and something that I've really enjoyed just getting to kind of have the openness to share. And I've shared a few articles and I have a few more ideas of things to share too. So just that creative outlet and being able to help other women with things I've discovered or experienced, I think it's really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It definitely, and it's such a river that flows two ways. You're putting out your insight and your experiences and then getting those and connecting. And sometimes, even when I watch the Takeover Tuesdays, I feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a good idea. Or like, I absolutely experienced that too, but that's a different way to look at it, or, anything along those lines. It's really fun getting kind of a sneak peek into another mom here in Albuquerque's life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned nursing, so let's jump right into that because you are a labor and delivery nurse. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Dang.
So I'm a labor and delivery nurse. I was a doula before I was a nurse. And so a doula, I always say is kind of like what people think being a labor and delivery nurse is, but it's a non-medical labor support coach. So we're kind of just there like helping women, doing massage, aromatherapy, kind of coaching them through the labor process, whether they're going natural or have an epidural or whatever. But I was a doula for a long time. And then now I've been a labor and delivery nurse for 8 years. And I love it. It's amazing. It's my passion. I was like a weird little girl. Like when I was 8, instead of watching cartoons, I was watching TLC. It's a Baby Story. And I've always been like weirdly obsessed with birth.
Oh my gosh. That that is so interesting actually that you were really into that. So, flip of that is I'm the oldest of 5 and my mom had me in the room for 2 of my siblings' birth. And so my experience is the opposite. I'm like, I don't want
You're like, I don't
anything to
want
do with
anything to do
that.
with that.
I don't know if I even wanted to witness my birth, where people record the birth. And I was like, don't you dare take it. I don't want to see anything
Yeah.
related to that. So, so it really has been kind of on your heart and your calling in a way and your passion. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And it's just amazing. I mean, in the last 15 years of working around birth, like, it's just so cool to me that like no two stories are the same. I never have two
Mm,
dates that are the same. Like, and it's just beautiful for every family, like whatever that family looks like, and so it's just something that's so unique and cool, and I get to witness miracles every day, and it's like
Right.
something, that you could take for granted, but you're like, "Wow, there's really, like," even medically, like, I say multiple times at work, like, "If I had a crystal ball to know when your baby would come, I wouldn't be working here at Presbyterian Hospital. I'd be making a lot more money because
That's
there's
great.
just so much unknowns about labor too, and so it's
Mhm.
neat to just work with people and see how the human body works, and yeah, I just think it's so
Okay, so that's insightful. So you have been working in labor and delivery for 8 years, and your daughter is, 5? 4? 4, 5? What'd you
she's
say?
4. She'll be 5 in
4,
July.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were already working in labor and delivery when you had your first child.
Yes.
So you definitely knew what to expect, and what to expect is you have no idea.
Yeah.
How was your experience with your first? Because you're pregnant now, you're
Yeah.
expecting a little boy in April.
Yeah. It's really unique. Like, I feel really blessed to have all the knowledge that I have, and, just all of that. But on the flip side, a lot of people think labor and delivery is just all happy and butterflies and it's just good all the time, and you are just snuggling little babies all the time. But labor's hard and it's intense and it can be scary, and I think working in labor and delivery definitely makes me a little bit more nervous because I just know everything
Mm,
can happen,
that's
and
interesting.
so it's like it's always on your mind. And we have a high volume hospital. And so we see a lot of really high risk moms, a lot of
Mhm.
high risk babies, and so it's incredible that so many babies are born like now perfect when you realize like how many things can go wrong, and you just hear like all these weird, like, I mean, like I said, I've worked there
One-offs.
15 years and I hear new things every day that I'm like, I didn't even know that could happen in pregnancy. I didn't even know this could be a thing with babies. I didn't even know your placenta could have that. I didn't even know, and so it's just really
Mm,
interesting because working there, I have a lot of knowledge, but sometimes that can be scary for myself because I'm like, okay, well, I had this mom who had 5 vaginal deliveries and then she needed a C-section, and that's scary. Or, like, I don't know, there's just so many things that can happen that it's always like at the forefront of your mind. Like, okay, things are going good. Like, I just need to remind myself, like, I'm healthy, my baby's healthy, take it one day at a time and just be open with whatever's going to happen as far as the delivery, and, know that I'm going to be okay. The baby's going to be okay. And yeah,
mhm.
but it definitely gives me a little bit more anxiety than I think just the average person, just because I know more.
That's interesting. I mean, control the controls, take your prenatal, do the things, and then beyond that, trust that you're in good care because having anxiety or obsessing over it isn't going to change anything either. So that's, huh. Yeah, I figure it could go one of two ways the way there, or you could be like, yeah, this is a piece of cake. I feel like because I witnessed my mom being pregnant so much, I was kind of like, well, I walked into it and people were asking me, what's your birth plan? What do you want to do? I was like, I've never done this before. It could go any direction. So I just kind of went into it kind of, I don't want to say like willy nilly, but just
You were
ready to
open.
go. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the best laid plans, you make all these specific plans. And I feel like sometimes that can set you up for disappointment, don't you think? Because it didn't go exactly the way you were hoping.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I tell people all the time, and I teach some childbirth classes at our hospital too. And I always tell people, like, don't come with a birth plan, come with
Mhm.
birth preferences,
There you go.
because it's good to be informed and know what you want in certain situations. But a plan, if it doesn't go according to your plan, then if you feel let down if you get an epidural or if you end up in a C section or if breastfeeding doesn't last a year, or you know what I mean? So have
Sure.
preferences of what you want to try to go for, and then, you know, be flexible and fluid with what you need at the time and paying attention to your emotional health, your physical health, your baby's health, and all of
Mhm.
those things, need to take precedent over your plan.
Yeah. No, that's really good words of wisdom. Well, and going back to yours as a doula, and I'm asking this selfishly also because my younger sister has asked me to support her in her delivery. She's
Yeah.
about to have her first baby, and I was like, it's been 9 years now since I've had my last baby, and not that things change, but like the baby gear changes, it gets upgraded.
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
newest boppy that I don't know about?
Yeah.
What does that look like for you? Did it look like for you? You mentioned like massage and coaching and things like that. What did being a doula all entail?
I think the biggest thing about being there for someone in labor is just being there for whatever they need. And I tell people this all the time, especially, birth partners. And I tell them, like, there's going to be times where she needs you to literally hold her close and be right there physically, like holding her. And then there's
Mhm.
going to be times where she's going to be like, don't touch me, don't talk to me, stop talking right now. And you can't take anything personal. And those can change very quickly. And so I try to tell people, like, don't let your feelings get hurt if you're trying to rub her some way and she says, stop, stop, stop. As soon as a contraction comes, like, okay, be like, okay, can I try this? Or let her lead you, or what kind of touch would feel good. Cause it's different for every woman, but it's also different at different stages in labor. So,
Yeah.
early on in labor, a foot massage might feel amazing and they're able to relax and really enjoy a foot massage. But when they're in transition and they're needing to move around and things are really intense, she might not want that slow kind of massage. She might want you to do pushing on her back or giving her your hands to squeeze or kind of rocking with her and helping her breathe through the contractions. And so I think just being open to whatever she needs and
Mhm.
not letting it hurt your feelings. Cause as a new doula I always just wanted to do what was right. And if someone would be like, "Oh, I don't like that," then I'd be like afraid to touch him again. I'd be like, "Okay, I she doesn't want me to touch her at all," and so I would get scared. But then I'd realize, okay, I still need to be here, even if it's just putting my hand on her back, a firm touch, or some
Mhm.
people like the soft touch, and that feels really good to them. But a lot of women, especially when they're in more active labor, that soft touch is like the most irritating thing. And they want like the firm touch. And so just kind of being flexible with that and just letting the person who's birthing know, like, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Let me know if something doesn't feel good, what you want me to try. I'll try different things and just kind of being open to that, I think.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think also for any mothers that are listening that may be preparing to give birth and giving them that permission to just change your mind. And again, you've not done this before, so you don't know what to expect as you're going through this experience. Or if you have had kids, again, every experience is different. And also like giving them permission, maybe for someone who's a little more soft spoken, to really advocate for themselves.
Yeah. And that's something even myself with my daughter. I think just because working there, I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So I didn't want to pick my nurse and then have someone's feelings hurt that I like picked my nurse. But in retrospect, I'm like, man, I would have maybe been more comfortable with this person had I just verbalized that. And now that I know more and I've been there longer, if someone comes in and doesn't want me to be their nurse, maybe they're closer friends with this other person and that's not going to hurt my feelings. And so same thing with who you choose to be in your birth space. That's amazing that your sister wants you to be there with her and just maybe she wants you to be that bulldog too, who, if she has someone who wants to be there or she doesn't want at certain times or whatever, you can be like, okay, we just need to give her some time to rest or whatever
Mhm.
is it's important to know and to let that person know this is your birth, and birth should look like that birthing person is a queen. People should be bringing her water. People should be waiting on her and making her as comfortable as they can. And she should not feel like she's going to hurt anyone's feelings or like
Mhm.
she's inconveniencing anyone during that time.
Yeah, certainly. No, that's such good advice, Anastasia. Thank you.
Yeah.
How has it been for you in both of these pregnancies, working in labor and delivery, and certainly, nurses work on their feet and work long shifts and everything? Talk to me about that.
Yeah. Well, with my daughter, I was really sick the whole pregnancy. So that
Oh,
was very rough just because it was pretty much every day I got sick and threw up with her and I was nauseous. all the time, but I worked with her until past 40 weeks. And so even my manager told me, she was like, I don't think I've ever put anyone on the schedule past their due date. And I was just like, I'm not taking my maternity leave till this baby's out of me because I want to take all
Wow.
the time I can with her. But this time, the first trimester was really rough. So I always have a special place in my heart for anybody who's sick in the first
Mm,
trimester or throughout their labor because it's rough. Pregnancy can
yeah.
be very rough, but since then, I've been feeling good, and I was even talking at work the other day, I'm like, "Okay, now I get why people might say they enjoy being pregnant because I got a cute belly, people treat me nicer, and, you feel good." I haven't really had super negative symptoms in the second trimester, and so yeah, I definitely feel better this pregnancy than my first, but my first was also a little scary. It was like right during COVID. And so just
Oh,
being
sure.
at work was a little bit scary. She was born
Mhm,
in 2020. So it was like, what's going to happen today at work? And I was scared
mhm.
of getting exposed. And at that point, they didn't know how dangerous it was if you got COVID in your pregnancy. And so it was a scarier pregnancy
Yeah.
in general and just a lot going on everywhere. And so this time I feel good. I feel like I'm still sleeping good and I feel fine working. And so yeah, it's actually been a good experience.
Oh, good. No, that completely makes sense, and gosh, I'd never even considered that really, like, and you're working and you're around it, that just so many variables that were unknown at that time and a lot of anxiety. So, and you're kind of enjoying the golden stage of pregnancy now, and it's not brand new to you, but you can really kind of lean in. Yeah, I the second trimester really is A
Yes.
plus. First and third, not
Yeah.
not so much. Well, like when you can't roll over unassisted, that kind of thing.
You need catapulted out of bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was again talking to my sister about pregnancy pillows, and she's all, "These are horrendous looking." I go, "You don't understand. That's about to be your best friend." And she's like, "I just ordered one. I'm so excited."
Yeah.
So good. Oh my gosh. Well, on your social media, which is what, where can people find you if they want to follow along with you and your experiences?
Yeah, so I'm mostly active on Instagram,
Yeah.
and it's just Anastasia Fajardo. At Anastasia Fajardo is my Instagram handler. That's where I mostly post, and sometimes I do posts about labor and delivery. Recently, I've been doing more posts about being pregnant.
hmm So you've been doing, that's what I want to talk about. You've been doing TMI Tuesdays on your Instagram. And that was one of the things that Vanessa and I were like, we have to have her on. That's so good. Because you're in labor delivery and like you've literally seen it all. Nothing is like off limits for you essentially. So talking about some of those topics.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people in pregnancy know, the basics. They know, oh, I might get nauseous in my first trimester. I might get uncomfortable in my third trimester. But there are so many things that are normal in pregnancy that are wild. And so it's just like, it's so crazy to me, and especially being a nurse, sometimes I work in triage, which is kind of like our little emergency room for pregnant people. And people come in and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm having this, this, and this." And like, they're thinking it's like very serious. And I'm like, "Yep, that's being pregnant,"
You're like,
and
yeah, me too right now.
yeah, I really am an open book. And so I feel like on my Instagram, I'm like, I talk about poop. Being constipated is a terrible pregnancy symptom that a lot of women experience. And, there's rashes and there's vaginal discharge and there's all kinds of things. Your nipples being way darker than they've ever been in your life.
And
And
gigantic.
yeah, and I think people, when they hear someone talking about that and then they're like, "Oh, okay." Or, even if they're not pregnant and they have a friend who's pregnant, they could be like, "Oh yeah, I heard this crazy girl on Instagram talking about that and she says it's totally normal or whatever. Or this is the purpose behind it." And so, yeah, that's just been something kind of fun that I like doing on Tuesdays and yeah, it's been fun and most of them are personal things I've experienced, but as I go week by week, I'll talk about some things, that are maybe I'm not personally experiencing, but are normal in pregnancy, and some things that are not normal too, and reasons when to go to triage or when to talk to your doctor about it.
Yeah, the biggest thing I think that caught me off guard, and everything you're saying resonates because you're like, oh, I read this, but I didn't like understand the scope of it, or they would go this far. Was let's just get this on the hemorrhoids. I was like, what the heck? No one told me anything about this. This is crazy. And I did have a friend, a boss, that was like, you want to make sure you have hemorrhoid pads in your like birthing bag to go with you to the hospital. I was like, what are you talking about? Oh
Yeah.
no, that's legit. That's real.
Yeah. Well, even, I mean, there's things that caught me off guard, even working in birth for so long. Like,
Mhm.
I guess I didn't realize, and maybe I was just naive to it, but breastfeeding hurts. And I always thought, and we were taught breastfeeding shouldn't hurt. And if your baby's latching fine, it shouldn't hurt. And that's a straight lie from the devil because it hurts. Even if your baby is latching on good, your nipple is not something that gets touched that often ever. And then all of a sudden, every
Aggressively.
hour, a little something is rubbing on it for 30 minutes to an hour. How is that not going to be painful on any part of your body, much less something that's already a sensitive part of your body? And so, there's things that I feel like nobody told me. I only thought it hurt if something was wrong. And no, I feel like everybody has a little bit of uncomfortability when it comes to breastfeeding. And, you know,
Yes.
just things like that. And just knowing being uncomfortable in your third trimester, yeah, you're probably going to be a little bit uncomfortable. You weigh a lot more than you normally do. You have this big belly. All your
Mhm.
joints are stretching and making room for this baby. It's a major transition for your body.
All those things. I love that you're just kind of taking the taboo off of all those things and talking about them comfortably and a kind of a safe space for people to come to and laugh about it too, because they are. It's some of it's ridiculous, some of it's amazing, some of it's really really annoying.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, we could just talk forever probably about this TMI stuff. We could probably do a whole second episode, but we're going to wrap it up. It's been so enjoyable, but I wanted to ask you a couple recommendations from you. And I want to get some recommendations for you, the questions that we like to ask our guests, some more insight. So, first of all, what are you watching, listening to, or reading, Anastasia?
So I really like YouTube. I love YouTube. And so I love watching the little what do they call them? Like vlogs. And right
Mhm.
now I'm on like a YouTube short kick where I love watching people nest. And have I done any nesting? Not at all. But I love watching people nest.
You're nesting
And so I'll just
vicariously.
like just watch videos of people like folding little tiny baby clothes and emptying little packages of pacifiers. I don't know why I'm like real into that right now.
Good.
And then I'm currently rereading. So I've read this book a few times, but Ida May's Guide to Childbirth is such a cool book. So Ida May is like the original midwife, and
Okay.
she has a birthing center. And in this book, Ida May's Guide to Childbirth, she just has all these stories of different people's births. And um, like I said, I'm weirdly obsessed with birth, so it makes sense that I would like this book about birth. But yeah, just the way that she talks in the book, and she gives lots of examples of how she helps these women, or if certain things are stalling out. And it's kind of just a general like childbirth guide that's a little bit more natural. So she's not in a hospital, but I feel like whether you're delivering at a hospital or birth center or home or whatever, you can apply some of her principles. And she just has such an amazing way at looking at birth. And I think sometimes, like working in the hospital, we can get very medical. Even me and one of the doctors were joking yesterday that, like, birth just happens, like sometimes people do just come into labor and like have a baby unassisted. Like they don't need any medications. They don't need anything to like help them along. And I think just because in the hospital we're, you know, always thinking about timelines and how long has their water been broken and how long have they been laboring and how long have they been 6 centimeters, and so just looking at it from such a natural point of view, because it's something that women's body have been doing forever. And so it's not something that needs all of this assistance, and women can do it, and just having that positive outlook, and just knowing sometimes we do need to take a step back, and maybe not everybody needs an induction, and definitely there's reasons for inductions and medical reasons and all of that I agree with. But yeah, I think just rereading that book and just realizing, okay, this happens and this is natural, and sometimes stalling is natural, and these are things that she does in her book. So I've
Mm,
been enjoying rereading that and just reminding myself that this is a natural thing that happens.
that's so good and such a balanced view. I love that like idea of nature and science and the mix of the two. And it doesn't have to be this formula and this step by step process. You can allow that to the body to do what it's supposed to do in a lot of instances. Yeah. Okay. Next up, what's your local spot that you love, kind of family friendly, kid friendly, that you love to enjoy with your baby girl?
Yeah. So we live in Los Lunas, but we come to Albuquerque all the time. But there's a really, really cute cafe in Los Lunas called Europa, and they have
Oh,
like two outdoor play places for kids. So even though it's a little bit of drive outside of Albuquerque, I tell
no, I
people
love a
like
Los
this
Lunas
place
hotspot.
is so cute, and it's like a little European vibe. They do like weddings and stuff there too. So you can like walk
Oh
around they have like a nice little grass area and like a big barn, and they have like a miniature donkey and like chickens that run around outside, and
my
it's just a
gosh.
really cute little place to go. So my daughter and I like going there, and then we really love the Belen Library. We like the Las Lunas Library too, but the Belen Library is primo. They got lots of fun stuff. The librarian is amazing. So we usually go to the Belen Library at least once a week.
Hey, don't sleep on that. That's good. No, I love with the Europa Cafe, good outdoor spaces are not to be overlooked. Like when you get some good shade, there's places for kids to run. You can hang out without being stressed. No one's going to run into traffic because it's like fenced in.
Yes.
Very, very primo.
Yeah,
Okay.
and even the inside of Europa, I mean, like, there's lots of different little, like little rooms kind of. So they have like a
Mhm.
big room, and then they have like a little room off of that and another little room, and so it really is just a cool little spot. Even like anyone who's getting married, I'm like, you should look at Europa because it's cute and adorable. And I always see when they have weddings, they have like the cute little string lights and stuff out there. So,
Aw,
but we like that place. We enjoy it.
that's lovely. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next up, this is my favorite question always, and I bet you've got a good one. An embarrassing parenting moment.
Okay. I definitely have had my fair share of embarrassing parenting moments.
Yeah, your little girl's sassy. She's cute. I bet she's giving you a run.
Yeah, she's definitely sassy. She's so funny because sometimes, like, if it's somebody I know, she pretends like she's so shy. She's if I ran into you at Costco, I'd be like, "This is my friend. Say hi," and she'd be like hiding behind me and not want to say hi and all this stuff. But if it's someone she has no clue who they are, she'll like share our whole life story with them, right? And so the other day we were at Home Depot, and she was getting out of the car the same time as this older man was getting out of the car. And she just starts talking to him, and she's like, "Hi, how are you? And what's your name?" And just like chatting it up. And then she's like, "Yeah, well, my mom has a baby in her stomach, and sometimes when she poops, she cries." That's like, I was like, okay, let's go and so again with the TMI Tuesday on pregnancy there. Yeah. Yeah. From
She's
poop
in your
to being
footsteps.
as intense as birth. And my daughter's seen that firsthand. And so, yeah, that was a pretty embarrassing moment with a complete stranger man at Home Depot. Was not expecting to get that knowledge about.
It's not like you were in like, Bed Bath and Beyond parking lot. It was like Home Depot. He's like on a construction site.
Yeah. And and then after I had to tell her, I was like, okay, like, going to the bathroom is a pretty private thing. So we don't have to tell people about all that. It's
That's
like,
good.
okay, not phased at all as I'm like mortified.
Ah, that's so good. Anastasia, thank you. I'm sorry. The embarrassing parenting moments give me life every time. It's so funny. I'm so glad that wasn't me. I'm so glad removed from that. Ah, awesome. Well, take us out with some great advice. I'd love it if it was labor and delivery related because that's definitely your area of expertise for maybe new mamas.
Yeah. I think my best advice would be, like I said before, just, you know, being knowledgeable. So inform yourself on what can happen so that you can make informed decisions. Cause I think that's huge, and knowing that you can always say yes, no, or wait. Those are always three options in labor,
Mm,
and whether you're in a hospital, a birthing center, or at home, you are in control. And sometimes people come into the hospital and they're like, oh, I'm just going to do like whatever the doctor tells me to do, which is fine. If you trust your provider and you're like, I just want to go with whatever plan they have, like I totally trust them. I don't have any reservations about that. Awesome. But if you do have reservations, if you're like, oh, okay, I don't know, like I don't feel comfortable breaking my water yet, for example, then you can say, no, I don't want to break my water right now. Or you can say, can we wait 2 more hours, 4 more hours, whatever. So just know that you're in control and be knowledgeable of, you know, which decisions. And that can be another, tip too is you're not going to know everything going into labor. Like I said, I've been doing this 15 years. Every labor is different. So take your time, and if the doctor is like saying, "Oh, we want to do this or this," or your midwife saying we want to do this or this, be like, "Oh, can I talk with my partner for a few minutes and can you give us a chance to decide?" And then you can do a little bit of research right there on the spot, find some information on it, the pros, the cons, weigh both sides and then make your decision. So,
mhm.
yeah.
We live in the future. We carry computers in our pockets.
Yeah.
So good. Well, gosh, Anastasia, thanks again so much for taking time to join us. I just wish you the best third trimester. Hope
Thank
that
you.
baby is nice and light but healthy at the same time. So, thanks again, and thanks everyone for being here and listening. And also, I didn't mention this when you said YouTube, but we are on YouTube now, which is very exciting. So you'll be able to see our faces as Anastasia, me crying as she told me that embarrassing story. Check us out and listen and follow and subscribe there. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.